Uncertainty in Washington on the debt ceiling deal and other financial debates are forcing President Biden to cancel his trip to Chicago tomorrow. He'll stay in D.C. to deal with negotiations on his legislative agenda. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has vowed to pass a bipartisan infrastructure bill this week. Democrats are also stuck on the $3.5 billion Build Back Better plan. Joining us now with some more insight on the budget negotiations, plus the politics of the Obama Presidential Center, is our political analyst, Paul Lisnek.
Good evening, guys.
Good evening, Paul. Thanks for joining us. Well, it's a race against the clock. Highly unusual for a president to cancel a trip. You know, they usually don't do that unless something is gravely wrong.
Yeah, and in some respects, Micah, it's good news because it means the president thinks by staying in Washington, he may be able to accomplish something. Yeah. It's also worth noting where we keep hearing about the debt ceiling. That problem actually doesn't kick in until mid-October. It's really about keeping the government open. That's what closes down Thursday night. But these two things Democrats are trying to be put together so they can do it without Republican support, Republicans in the way of that.
But it seems we do this dance every couple of years. Yeah. There is very understandable concern over government spending and running up huge deficits. Can we say who's right, who's wrong in this debate, or does it just matter on who's in power at the moment spending the money?
Well, I won't judge who's right or wrong, but factually speaking, what we can say is that under the Trump administration, Democrats voted without complaining to raise the debt limit. They weren't happy about President Trump, but that's what Congress does. They raise the debt limit. This time around, I think what's important for people to understand, we had Mitch McConnell and Republicans basically saying the Democrats need to own this debt. And they keep pointing to the infrastructure package and the $3.5 trillion that they're trying to get through. People need to understand this whole debt limit ceiling thing has nothing to do with that money. This is about money spent, not about money yet to be spent. So really raising the debt ceiling right now, Ben and Micah, is a reflection of covering the money that the debt incurred during the Trump administration and the CARES Act in the first part of the Obama administration, but that passed with bipartisan support.
But the infrastructure bill issue has been a problem for several months. What makes him think by staying there is going to make a difference?
Well, because it looks like Joe Manchin seems to be on board, and so really it's all about Kyrsten Sinema right now, and she's being unclear. I've been seeing a lot of Democrats who are very frustrated with her by saying, you know, if they should just tell us what she wants, we could try and do something, and she's not. It is hard to imagine that the Democrats don't accomplish something by Thursday. We know Nancy Pelosi won't do her thing until she for sure has the votes, but the Senate has to get their ducks in a row.
What are the potential ramifications? You heard Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, talk about increased inflation. Inflation's already been a huge issue. We've also had these basically logistics problems with making cars and getting everything here to us. What do you think would be the real world implications if this thing doesn't get done?
Well, infrastructure is one thing, but in terms of the debt ceiling and covering funding the government, that's huge. That's essentially borrowing money from people, then saying, sorry, we're not paying you back. Who would loan us any money? I mean, that would be hugely destructive on our economy and hugely destructive on interest rates and everything else. So that really is a big deal. There's been some suggestions that really, why does Congress even deal with that? Democrats are putting together a proposal which says, you know what, let's just let the president raise the debt limit, any president raise the debt limit when they want, and all we can do is maybe get in the way of it. Mitch McConnell actually hasn't balked on that. That's not going to happen right now, but something needs to get taken out of this political game.
Let's talk about another president who was in town today to break ground on the Obama Presidential Library. What is this, you know, having the Presidential Library here in Chicago, in that area, what is that going to do for his legacy?
You know, what's really important about this, Micah, you have to go back to the Hoover administration to see presidential libraries, to use your word, which are always and Obama said this today.
Well, sort of presidential center it is, actually.
Exactly. That's so important because Obama basically made a big deal about saying this is not about looking back, which is what people do with presidential libraries. They go and study the president. Here, Obama's saying this is a look forward. And by the way, he's done something really interesting. He's not giving control over the center to the National Archives. First president not to do that. And that's so he avoids all the rules and restrictions placed on him. Instead, the documents will be in digital form in his center.
And the foundation is the one who's running.
And the foundation's going to run it, correct.
So it's interesting, though, this whole debate, and we covered it, about the impact on that community, Jackson Park and the surrounding neighborhoods. It seems like the former president was kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. If he had put this presidential center downtown, people would have said he was turning his back on the South Side.
Look, there was a time when people were afraid he would take it to Hawaii altogether. So it's here in Chicago. Yeah, is it going to increase property values and such around there? Of course it is. Is there going to be an increase on property taxes? Of course it is. City Council has done what it can to try and limit it. But 10 years from now, 15 years from now, there's no question we're liable to see sort of a change about who can afford to live in that area. But it brings in jobs. It brings in lots of income and tourism. And having, again, in any city, a presidential center and library, which will actually be in the suburbs, is really important to a community. So overall, it's a plus. We're just going to go through the growing pains as people try and honor Daniel Burnham's legacy, where he said, keep the lakefront forever free and clear. And that's been the problem.
All right.
Paul Lisnek, thank you. And
Thank you,
Paul's
guys.
political coverage continues on the WGN TV Political Report. You can watch that every Sunday morning at 9 a.m.
I know you're up.
I am up. I've got young kids. We're also following the latest from Washington throughout all of our newscasts. Our morning news starts at 4 a.m. You can also get updates anytime through our free WGN News app. Be sure to opt in for breaking news.